Hi, this is Maggie
and Lindsay,
and we chose to focus on the SOL US 1.9, which deals with the Civil War. We concentrated on parts D, E, and F of this SOL.
The objective of our text set is to allow students to analyze the Civil War from different viewpoints in order to understand the major causes, battles, and impacts of the Civil War.
Ghost Cadet by Elaine Marie Alphen. This chapter book can be used as a read-aloud throughout the unit. Students will be able to make predictions about what will happen in the book based on what they are learning in class. Will Benji be able to help the Civil War ghost restore his honor by finding his watch? Students will find out while also learning Civil War facts from Benji's grandmother and his new friend Hugh the Ghost.
The next book is Americans Who Tell the Truth by Robert Shetterly. This book would be a great resource to have in the classroom for students learning about famous Americans. For this particular SOL, we would have the drawing and quotes from Abraham Lincoln and Frederick Douglass up in the classroom for students to read. Students would write responses back to these two about their quotes using prior knowledge of the Civil War to make predictions about what the famous man was talking about in his quote.
Ever wonder what Abraham Lincoln was feeling during his time as president during the Civil War? The book Abe Lincoln Remembers by Ann Turner provides a viewpoint of the Civil War from the president's eyes and allows students to understand the hardships that the president faced during the Civil War.
In this Magic Treehouse book, Civil War on Sunday by Mary Pope Osborne, students are taken back in time to the Civil War where they must help nurse soldiers on the battlefield. Students will find out what it would be like to be a soldier during the Civil War. Jack and Annie must be brave in order to survive the cannon fire, but will they get out alive? This book would be a great addition to the reading shelf for students to read during this unit.
The Civil War Archive website provides primary resources from those who lived during the time of the Civil War. Students will be able to read letters, diaries, and battle reports from the many people who were involved and impacted by the Civil War. We imagine this being a great resource for students to not only read many viewpoints, but they could also write a letter back to the soldiers.
This next book is based on true stories from battles during the Civil War. It includes maps, a timeline, and photos throughout the book, making it an excellent resource to include in the classroom for this unit. This book also includes information about an influential leader mentioned in our SOL, Abraham Lincoln, and his role throughout the war. It's definitely an excellent choice to have on the shelves for students to refer back to.
This book is from the perspective of a young girl living in the South during the Civil War. It is a lengthier chapter book, so it can be read as a read-aloud throughout the unit or individually for above-grade level readers. It provides a great viewpoint of a young woman and her role and efforts to aid during wartime.
This book gives insight into two of our key Civil War figures, as mentioned in the SOLs. It discusses their lives and how they surprisingly intersected during this critical time in the United States history, different viewpoints of the two key leaders as well as their parallel lives. Also a lengthier book, so it may be best to pick out key parts to discuss with the students as well as have it available as a resource.
Based on a true Civil War story, Billy and the Rebel is set during the Battle of Gettysburg in 1863 when a mother and son shelter a young Confederate soldier. This book will bring great insight into a particular battle and the hardships and risks this family took for an opposing soldier. A little bit lengthier book, but could be taken home for students to read on their own. It also includes a historical note so the class could discuss primary sources such as this.
This next resource is an iPad app called Civil War. It is supposed to be the technological equivalent of a textbook containing Civil War information, but it has so many ways for students to interact with it. Students can read text, listen to audio, such as speeches like the Gettysburg Address, as well as look at pictures, watch videos, cartoons, etc. Students can click around and explore, as well as test what they know with practice quizzes, puzzles, and other review games. This would be a great resource for students to do if they finished an assignment early or in a transition to review what they've learned.
Another great app we found was entitled Civil War 1863. With this app, you have to pick whether you want to fight for the Union or Confederate armies. You're playing from the perspective of the commander, and you are given different missions that you have to fight against opposing forces in order to complete the missions. This could be used in the classroom if students were to finish an assignment early or had some spare time they could play this game. Here are our resources.